We actually have a little surprise. Dr. Adeline Yen Ma, physician and writer and a member of Committee of 100, is here to present something to Ambassador Hill. Please welcome Dr. Adeline Yen Ma.
First, I would like to present, this is a book that I've written about Chinese history. Thank you, Ambassador.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our committee is greatly honored that Ambassador Hill took time from his busy schedule to fly from Washington, D.C. and give the enlightening speech we've just heard. His presence is especially significant because he just flew in this afternoon and in a few hours plans to fly back on the red-eye special tonight in order to greet the president of South Korea. Like Ambassador Stapleton Roy, as well as many fellow members of the Committee of 100, I was born in China. My husband and I were very pleased when we learned last year that our son-in-law, Christopher Klein, had been assigned to serve as special assistant to Ambassador Hill. We've always considered Ambassador Hill to be a consummate diplomat with a matchless ability to eliminate conflict and bring order out of chaos. He was instrumental in ending the Bosnian War and played an important role in the crisis over Kosovo. Although he served as ambassador to South Korea for only 8 months, many consider him to have made the most impact. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice personally selected him to head the U.S. delegation in the six-party talks. Her confidence in him has been amply rewarded. Since he was placed in charge, North Korea has shut down its nuclear facilities, and the six-party talks appear to be on the brink of finding a permanent peaceful solution to everyone's concerns in that region. When Ambassador Hill accepted our invitation to be the keynote speaker at this year's conference, I asked my son-in-law for advice as to what gift I can give the ambassador to show my personal appreciation. Chris told me that his boss loves to watch the Boston Red Sox and to read history books. Since I know nothing about baseball, I opted for Chris's second suggestion because I happen to share the ambassador's passion for history. Ever since the time of China's great historian Sima Qian, who lived 2,100 years ago during the Han Dynasty and wrote his seminal book, 史记, historical record, in 100 BC, the Chinese have been obsessed with history. Chinese history is better documented than the history of any other nation. At the beginning of each dynasty, the emperor of the new dynasty would appoint his own historians to write an account of the preceding dynasty. As a result, presently there are 3,600 volumes of standard Chinese history, 正史, spanning the 2 millennia from the Han Dynasty to the end of the Qing Dynasty in 1911. A few years ago, a major Australian publisher commissioned me to write a history of China for young adults. She told me to include all the dynasties. When I asked her how long the book should be, she answered, "Make it as short as possible." At first, I thought she had given me an impossible task. Then her request became a challenge. It took me 2 years of hard work, not what to include in a book, but what to leave out and still retain the essence of Chinese history. The result is this thin little book, which has just been published in Australia and which I presented to Ambassador Hill. It has lots of pictures and can be read in 4 or 5 hours. Just right for one plane ride from Los Angeles back to Washington, D.C. My Australian publisher insisted on retaining exclusive world rights for 1 year, so my book is presently only available in Australia. I presented the first copy to Ambassador Hill, and in his name, I would like to extend a copy to everyone here tonight. Thank you. These books were specially flown over for tonight's event from Melbourne. They were placed in your gift bag, which will be handed to you by the wonderful staff of the Committee of 100. I hope you and your children will enjoy reading about some of the most famous people and amazing discoveries from China. Robert Kennedy said in one of his speeches, "Few will have the greatness to bend history itself." I'm glad to say that Ambassador Hill has proven himself over and over to belong to that rare breed who have been able to change events and bring peace wherever he went. I predict that 100 years from now, historians will write of the years spanning Ambassador Hill's career and proclaim him to be one of the best and brightest diplomats of his generation. I will conclude with 2 quotes. The first is from China's greatest historian, Sima Qian, who wrote in 100 BC, "人固有一死, a person lives and dies but once. 死或重于泰山, his life can be as significant and monumental as a Thai mountain, 或轻于鸿毛, or as trivial and light as a goose feather. 用之而趋也. It all depends on him." 2,000 years later, the 19th century British historian Thomas Carlyle wrote, "Universal history, the history of what man has accomplished in this world, is at bottom the history of the great men who have worked there." Thank you, Ambassador Hill, from the bottom of my heart, for gracing us with your presence tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Adeline Yen-Ma. Ladies and gentlemen, the second part of our program will begin once dessert is served, so please enjoy your dinner, or as my mom would always yell, "吃饭啦!"